to Death and Aliens. I don't remember what that podcast is about. An in-depth look. Let's just start over.
This is off to a great start. A fantastic. Yeah. Welcome to Death and Aliens. And I'm like, what?
I just completely forgot what I say when I do that.
Son of a bitch.
I almost want to leave that in, except for that I think people will think I'm drunk. And I'm not.
That's why you leave all this part in, so that they know that you're not. Disclaimer, Mary Kate is not drunk.
I am not drunk at all. I'm drinking Red Fanta.
It's either wine or Red Fanta, and tonight you're switching it up.
It's Red Fanta. Also, I had half a jar of peanut butter for dinner. That was my dinner. So, like, I'm just fucked today.
Oh, Jesus.
Also, I almost ordered coffee to do the podcast because I was so tired. But then I realized if I drank coffee at 9 o'clock at night, I wouldn't sleep ever.
Yeah.
So, actually, welcome now to Death and Aliens, and I will be leaving all of that in. An in-depth look at horror and sci-fi TV from two cousins who vaguely know what they're doing. I'm MK.
I'm Monica.
Clearly, we are living our best lives this week. We want to start off the episode again with a shout out to Courtney because
she's a psychic.
Yeah, literally psychic. Or just like secretly watched ahead and then pretended to know what she was talking about. But I'm gonna go with psychic because like I would.
It's cool.
Yeah, it's definitely cooler. Also, if you guys want cool shout outs in the podcast like Courtney gets all the time because she's the only one who actually fucking talks to us, I don't know, talk to us.
Yeah, let us know your theories, your opinions. You can honestly just tell us that we suck, and you know what? We'll still give you a shout out because we know.
Oh, I want to shout out somebody who actually commented on one of our posts today on Instagram. The comment was just some side eyes emoji, but like, shit, they gave us a comment. So that would be the her Instagram is Serial K Database. The K is for Kayla, her bio says. So Kayla, thanks.
Thanks, Kayla. So before we jump into this week's episode, how have you been doing this week, Em? Any exciting things have happened since last week of filming?
No. It's hard because like your life is boring because you do nothing from COVID. My life is boring because I work full-time as a teacher and I don't sleep. I just go to work and then come home and eat dinner and then suddenly it's the next morning and I don't know how that happened.
Well, that's fair. Because here actually my thing is I've actually been doing things. I'm happy about it. I'm possibly going. If the school would get in contact with me, I should be going back to school next month. I'll be starting back.
Yay!
I'll be a working woman. Actually, no, I really will be a working woman. That's the lovely thing about going for a trade. I need it. The first and only time I'll ever be needed is because I'm going for a trade. I also went on a date to the pumpkin farm.
Oh, that's nice. That's cute. I haven't been on a date in 3 years.
Honestly, scared to go on a date, but then I went on a date, and I'm happy that I went on a date. More dates to come. More dates to come. I also got a Michael Myers pillow that says Slay on it. And I put my Edward Scissorhands poster up in my room, and I got my new vanity. I've been doing a lot of interior decorating. It's not really decorating. It's just more so poster.
I will shout out the one thing that has been taking up most of my time lately, and that is reality TV. Dancing with the Stars is back, and surprisingly, Carol Baskin did not get eliminated in the first week. But actually, okay, I'm going to go off for a second because I just want to say this because everybody was talking after the first dance about how she was so horrible, but also for her very first dance, they gave her the Paso Doble, which is one of the hardest ballroom dances to do, and she's never danced before. So, like, of course she sucked, but, like, she was way better the second week, and she's, like, showing that who she is as a person, and she's, like, genuinely, like, Tiger King messed up her life. And whether, I mean, listen, you can believe what you want to believe about whether she killed somebody or not. I truthfully don't believe she killed him.
That's fair. I don't know. It's just funny to hear the TikTok song.
Oh no, the TikTok thing is funny and I get it, but also sometimes we have to remember that that's a real person.
Yeah, that's
and
very
like,
true.
If she did kill him, well then like she should get her due diligence in like due time for sure. But if she didn't, can you imagine being her and having like the entire like internet for a year just talk shit about you?
That's fair.
So I have strong feelings, but also Dancing with the Stars, my strongest feeling about it is that Tyra is a terrible host and I am hating it. Also, Big Brother is trash this season. Everyone in the house, now that Davon has been eliminated, is trash. It's boring. Everyone sucks. It's supposed to be an all-star season, and I've seen kindergartners who can play a better game of Big Brother than that. I'm over it.
I remember when my dad used to live with you, and we would watch Big Brother together, and I actually got into it, and then I stopped watching it after that season. I can't remember. I don't know how many seasons there are. It was like back in 2014 we were watching it. I think 2013, 2014.
We're currently on season 22.
Oh, well, there you go. It was the year that Frankie Grande was on.
Oh, yeah, that season was trash. And the people who are the most trash on this season came from that season. So, like.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah. So hopefully no one who is currently on Big Brother 22 is watching this podcast. I'm sorry. I'm sure you're all lovely as humans, except for Christmas. You can never speak again. That's great.
There's a person named Christmas?
Yes. She also has said some racist ass trash and then cried that the edit was going to make her look bad. So I make no apologies to her. The rest of you, I'm sorry. I'm sure you're lovely people.
If your name is Christmas, I hate you.
Her name is Christmas Joy.
Who the hell are her parents?
Also, she has a record for ramming into a car of her baby daddy's new girlfriend and somehow still gets to be on TV. There's nothing joyful about her.
No, her parents are Cindy Lou Who's parents. That's Cindy Lou who I had a stroke. Cindy Lou Who's little sister. Like Christmas Joy. She either sounds like she came from Whoville or she's a porn star, which honestly, go off. You're a porn star, go off. But like, that's what her name gives me. She's on the wrong reality TV show.
So now that I've just gotten really worked up and angry for no reason, let's talk about Hemlock Grove, Season 1, Episode 11.
No. An actual good episode.
Yeah, actually, very good episode. So it's called The Price, and I kind of I was hoping that it was a double meaning, but it wasn't.
No, it was straight up in your, literally they say the name of the title in the episode.
But unsurprised by that because it was written by the same guy who wrote the episode Hello Handsome.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, so came out April 19th, 2013, directed by TJ Scott, who directed last week's episode, and written by Mark Verheiden, who wrote episode 5. So,
And there's no like insane special effects in this episode, so I haven't talked about this. I'm not talking about any special effects crew this week. So hopefully with next week's episode, because the little blurb on Netflix said it's going to be
ahead. Just kidding. So did I.
I did too. But I think next week's episode is gonna probably be a bloodbath, if I'm being real.
I don't know if it will or if the last episode will.
I think they both will be, but in different circumstances, like different ways. One metaphorically, one physically.
Yeah. The episode blurb says, Peter and his mother hide from vigilantes seeking the killer, while Christina disappears and Roman finally begins to face the truth about his nature. Now, I will say, I don't agree with that last part.
Neither do I.
Because I still don't know what Roman's nature is. Like, he does start to accept things about himself. I will give them that. But, like, we're 11 episodes in and we still don't know what the F and oop here is.
Yeah.
So.
And with that, when we get to the scene, it was like one of the last scenes, like the second to last scene of the whole show, where that line has any relevance to this episode. And it's like I think
there's more to it than that, but yeah.
But mostly
that second last scene, yeah.
It's the most in your face, but I do have a lot of questions about it, but we will talk about that when we get to it.
Okay, so we open on Christina sitting on her bed in the mental institute, completely catatonic, just staring. What song is that? Staring catatonic out the window. Sorry. Yeah, there's a song. Now I'm going to have to figure it out. Sorry, everyone. You know how I get, like, that time that I spent 14 minutes trying to figure out what Jenny's name was.
Sometimes it be like that. It really just do be like that sometimes. And I can't stress it enough that, once again, it do be like that sometimes. Forgive me.
It's from The Last 5 Years, which is my favorite musical, obviously. It's a song, I'm a part of that. And she's singing about her husband and how sometimes he's, like, super manic, and then sometimes he's like, and she goes, staring catatonic out the window. Got it. It was in there. I knew it. Anyway, that's the one the Anna Kendrick and Jeremy Jordan one.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, so she's staring catatonic out the window. And there's a record playing, and her hair has gone
completely white.
Entirely white. Now, this show has not used music in storytelling very much, but also I've been watching a lot of Grey's Anatomy lately, which uses music as like a whole second part of the show. So when the record player was playing, I was like, I'm gonna, just for shits, because this is the first time we've ever had a scene where like the dialogue of the scene is the lyrics of the song, I'm gonna look up the song. So the song is called Loneliness Ends with Love, and it is by Al Lerner and Margaret Whiting. It came out in 1950, and they're both like super famous, but like not really now. Like they were famous in the 40s, 60s. Yeah, like he's like a really well-known big band pianist, and she was like one of the earliest pop singers. But surprisingly, this song of theirs is not one of the more well-known songs. It was never released as a single, like it just is. And there's this really cool thing on the internet where you can type in a song and find out every TV show or movie scene it was ever used in. And this song I think is really, really cool because the only other TV show that it is mentioned as having been used in is a scene in American Horror Story Freak Show. And I haven't seen it, so I don't know if this makes sense to you, but it's season 4, episode 7. The girl is reading a letter in her tent.
I think I know what scene you're talking about. Yeah.
Her name was Elsa?
Elsa Mars,
Yes. Okay, so I just was like, oh, cute connection there.
That's awesome.
But it was interesting because the people themselves were super popular. When I looked them up, I found like tons and tons of stuff. But when I looked the song up, the only connection I could find of anything was that American Horror Story scene. But the lyrics are about like how the biggest thing you want in life is to be understood, and everyone is lonely, but like lonely people will find other lonely people, and it kind of just like it like has an interesting lyric, but it's mostly just like sort of random 50s music that makes you feel like something's just slightly off.
Yeah.
It also was used in a movie called Magic that I have absolutely never heard of, but also looked like it could be a horror movie from some of the weird things I was reading. So apparently it just has that vibe.
It has the vibe to be in horror TV shows and or movies.
Well, there's something about a record player sound. Like this is going to be a big ass spoiler alert if you have not watched Twin Peaks. And I won't go into too much detail because I would like to eventually do Twin Peaks on this podcast. But there is a scene in season 2 of Twin Peaks where you find out the identity of the murderer, and it all hinges, like sound-wise, on the sound of the record stopping and being stuck at the stop point.
Ooh, that's creepy.
Right? So there's just something about record players. Norman like wraps a blanket around Christina and like gives her a kiss on the head, and like he is just feeling all kinds of guilty about everything and their mother. And then his phone rings, and I wrote, I think the call's about Tom. I was right. And then we go to the credits.
Mm-hmm.
That's literally half my notes for the show already. Just kidding. After the credits, we get a really short scene of Linda like pacing around the apartment or the trailer, kind of freaking out because Peter is not back yet. And obviously, like by this point, everybody knows that the girls are dead, and she's very worried about him.
Yeah.
Then we get a scene. Norman walks into that same like shady bar that we've seen in earlier this season, and everybody's like, ew, what are you doing here? We don't want a Godfrey in our bar because, you know,
Godfrey's.
Oh, right. And he finds Tom, and he's like, one of your deputies told me that you might be here. And his friends are like, basically like, nobody wants you here. Leave. You can't help. So Norman's like trying to be a friend, but like Tom's other friends are basically like, you don't get to be his friend, you're rich, which is kind of shitty.
Yeah, because Norman's actually trying to not.
Yeah, like Norman and Tom are friends.
Yeah.
like, so then Tom's like, no, like, it's fine. He can sit down and talk. Like, we'll talk. So they start to chat, and Norman's like, you should come home with me. Like, you shouldn't be alone. And his friends are like, yeah, what makes you think he's alone? And I'm like, okay, stop.
You really want him to be alone in his house where his daughters just got mauled at? Like,
right, but like, instead of being alone, you're just going to be with some dumb people day drinking at a bar. Great. That's a great way to handle your grief. So Tom obviously is grieving as he like I straight up, like, we talked about this last week. He's not okay, and he's not going to be okay. Yeah. But his way of handling not being okay is that he has decided, you know what? Maybe Chasser was right, and Peter really is a werewolf, and all the bad things started when he got here, so somebody should beat him up.
Yeah, so all the things that we were saying about Tom being the only sane one here who's not believing this fairy tale make-believe stuff besides Norman, that's gone now.
Which is mostly because he has very little room for logical thought left in his head, which I do understand, even if I'm a little mad about it.
Yes.
So then we go back to Linda, and her phone rings, and Destiny is like, they know, basically, and they're coming for you. And these people show up at the house, and they, like, at the trailer, and they're, like, breaking things and, like, tearing it apart, and they break into the trailer, but Linda's not in the trailer anymore. And I just wrote, what? How does she get out? I'm thinking there's some kind of witch magic. Mm. We find out later that that is not true, but I was like, yo, I can't handle anybody else being supernatural. What is going on?
Linda's over here pulling a disappearing act. Watch me disappear behind the magic curtain.
My next note says, damn it, Monica was right.
Wait, about what?
That Olivia called Price.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You really
I really thought that this was going to be a family issue and we were not going to get the good doctor involved. But you were right. I was wrong.
Yeah, because Price has to get involved. We're on to the last stretch of this series. He has to make an entrance at some point. He was clearly relevant, so he had to come back. So they're going to entangle him in this bull crap, and we already think he's a little sus. Well, at least I think he's a little sus.
So he basically says he shows up at the mill where Olivia is
doing fine. She's alive.
She's clearly struggling, but like not the kind of struggling you should be when we then get a visual of the fact that the bullet literally went through her heart.
Yeah. It's so, a little red dot.
She's taking Heartless to a whole new level.
Yeah, she is. Which goes to tell us that, well, it can't tell us anything because we don't know anything about Oop Ears at all still.
That's why I'm still so frustrated. Like, this lady got shot in the heart. And she's a little weak on her feet today.
Yeah, she's just like leaning back up against the car and she's like, and then Price is like, yo, so I took care of that wolf hunter. And
he calls her a dog catcher. He said, your dog catcher problem is taken care of.
Yeah, so I'm like, what did this dude do? He got Clementine got. I had a stroke, but Clementine got caught.
She did got, but she also got caught.
Yeah, same thing.
So we realize, like, Olivia is alive, and the disappearance of Clementine is thanks to Price. Mm-hmm.
That's about the only interesting thing about that scene is Price is now relevant again, and Olivia is clearly not dead and being shot.
Also, that's Price's only scene in the episode, so moving on.
Exactly.
You,
That's one of the best scenes in this whole episode.
So as we've been saying, guessing, shipping for a while now, Roman says some real shit right now that
It's like when, like a boyfriend's worried about his girlfriend, like if she's like eating enough, if she's sleeping enough, if she's taking care of herself. Like that's the type of vibe that Roman had with Peter in this whole scene. And I was like, you're in love with him.
oh, see, that wasn't even what gave it to me. That was after. I got it before that because okay, so Peter awakens and he is obviously nude and because he just was a wolf but he is in the bed that Roman was in his coma. And Roman is freaking out. And Peter's like, dude, like, what's going on? And Roman goes, I saw you. And Peter's like, what the fuck are you talking about, bro? He goes, I saw you transform back into you. And then he just stops and goes, it was fucking beautiful. And I was like,
He said, I'm in love with this man.
I literally wrote, okay, so like he's like in love. Cool.
Me and Mary Kate both had the exact same note.
Like
I learned Roman's in love with Peter.
Yeah. So then Peter's like trying to get up, but obviously like he just finished transforming. He didn't eat while he was in wolf form, so like his body is like done for. And also, I don't know, he got tranked.
Yeah.
With enough to hurt a wolf, which means that the amount maybe still left in his human body is perhaps too much.
Yeah, probably.
So he's a little messed up, and Roman's worried. But Peter's like, listen, if people... Oh, and Roman tells him about the twins and how... And like kind of fills him in on what happened because Peter doesn't really remember the whole Chasser thing, obviously, because he got tranked. So Roman like fills him in on what happened. And then again, team Roman's in love with Peter. He is so upset that he left Peter alone with Chasser, and he says, I tried to be strong enough for you, but I couldn't do it. And he was like almost in tears.
He's in love with a werewolf.
So Peter is like, listen, if they know about me, they know about my mom. I'm clearly not in any kind of state to like sit up right now. Can you go check on her? And Roman's like, anything for you, BB.
The accuracy. Literally, I think Roman would move like heaven and high waters.
But the important thing is in that scene though is that Roman did not bring Peter to the house. Roman doesn't know how Peter got to the house. Roman was like, I was trying to figure out what to do. I went back to the mill to see if you were there, but you were gone. And then my mom called me and was like, come to the house and take care of him. And I was like, cool, Mom. Thanks for caring that I'm out of my coma. I guess I'll just go take care of Peter. Like, fuck you too. Which he was very upset about, that his mom did not care.
Yeah, that kind of carries throughout the rest of the episode.
Which we know from last episode that she does care. She just also knew it was going to happen.
Yeah.
But she's clearly very good at expressing her feelings.
Oh, for sure.
So.
Then we see naked Peter butt.
Not yet.
Yeah, after Roman leaves, Peter gets up, waddles on over because the phone starts to ring with his bare ass cheeks.
That is after, because that's when Roman calls him after he talks to his mom.
Oh, sorry. Ignore me. Spoiler alert, you get to see Peter's butt.
He just only cares about butts, let's be real. So Roman does go to the trailer and he walks in and he sees the devastation of the people and the horrible, terrible things that they spray painted on the house about killing gypsies, and it was just awful and terrible. And he's kind of freaked out because he can't find Linda. And then she just like pops out of the floor. She had like a sneaky hideaway under the trailer.
It was like when Elphaba, died in Wicked, and then she was like, boom, me and Fiyero are alive. Pop up.
I hate you. That's where you went with that. But also yes. So then she starts like trying to get the stuff that is actually of sentimental and monetary value that she can take with her to go on the run. And Roman's like, don't go, just come to the house. Peter's at the house, we'll figure this out together. And she's like, listen, this Godfrey romantic connection is already too much. I don't want a part of it, but like, if you want to be all up in Peter's junk, like, that's on you. You better take him as cat.
Mm-hmm.
Which Casper, which is like not how I feel like a mother should handle that situation.
No, and also it kind of seems out of like Linda's character to do that because she's very protective of Peter. Like, right. Clearly, if she's sitting up waiting for him to come home from transitioning, why is she just gonna up and leave at a point where she should be with him?
Yeah.
Oscar's currently losing his ever-loving mind because the mailman's here.
Oh, I've lost my mind because I don't understand the show. Because while this episode was very good, things like this bother me because they don't have a lot of consistency in character intention sometimes. Like last episode, Linda was like going on and on about like Peter being her like little baby. And now she's just like, cool, you want to take care of him? Go for it. I'm out. Done. Bye.
That's why it doesn't make sense. But I think that transitioning point in Linda's character was when she was discussing Peter to and like his birth, saying like it was up to him to take that breath. I think that she does know that Peter can take care of himself and that he will do the right thing. It just feels very. It's one of those things where I don't know if she's being cold because she still doesn't trust Roman, or if she's just like, I need to get out of here. And honestly, I think it's I need to get out of here type of thing, because obviously in a later scene, like I think she's still like, even though, like I'll discuss it more when the scene comes around, but she still has like a caring way because she knows he is trying to do good. Yeah. Because he's not aware of what he is. But
I think it might be less about Roman and more about being at the Godfrey house.
Yeah.
So, then Roman calls Peter, and we get to see
Peter butt. Peter butt.
It's not the first time we've seen his butt, so.
We should name this episode Peter Butt.
No.
Peter Butt. I think we should. Peter Butt.
Yeah, so Roman's like, how are you? Like, your mom's okay? Like, the trailer's messed up. Oh, he says the trailer looks like the last time Shelly tried to take dance lessons.
My heart happy because you mean tell me Shelly's fucking out here tap dancing away or learning ballet or jazz or interpretive dancing. Oh, I love Shelly. She's my favorite.
But also that was not very nice.
Well, because she's probably big and she's like, I mean, like it's sweet, but like in a brotherly, like me in like a way, which is honestly what I love. Because like I like DJ and Tyler, and then your brother. The only fun and lovingness that comes from like us is like bullying each other, And that's just how.
Yes and no, except for I still can't get over that one time that my brother said the nicest thing ever to me and I cried for like 3 years about it.
Yeah. My brother also, on my birthday, texted me, "Congratulations on beating teen pregnancy. Happy birthday." I was like, yes.
I don't even remember if he texted me on my birthday, so like I think you're doing better than I am. He forgot my mom's birthday.
He lives with her.
Yeah, it was like during the first it was during like the like height of them being quarantined trapped in the house, and he was like, honestly, I don't know what day it is. I didn't even know what day it was.
That's fair.
Let's see, did he text me on my birthday? Um Oh yeah, he just said happy birthday, MK. That's it. Anyway, yeah, and so he's like, "How are you feeling?" And Peter's like, "I'm starving." And then hangs up the phone, and then goes downstairs and like starts digging through the kitchen until he finds a steak. And he's like, I wrote like something is up with him. Like his body's not reacting to not having eaten very well.
Yeah.
He's like losing it. And I really thought he was just about to eat the steak raw out of the fridge. But then he didn't. He put it on the stove.
For 2 seconds.
And literally flipped it with his hands and then like pushed it in and was like, okay, you're seared enough. And then just started eating it half raw. So like
the bacteria is killed at this point, but
well, I mean, you can eat beef raw. It's just not always the easiest to chew. Also, he clearly wasn't that hungry because then Letha walks in and he just throws the steak on the ground.
he was hungry for something else.
Gross.
A hug from Letha, because that's all that happens.
She's like, I'm here to check on Roman. And then they like embrace and he's like trying not to put his meat hands on her when he hugs her, which is funny. But then she's like, how can you miss someone so much in one day? And he's like, aren't you supposed to be mad at me? And she's like, I am. I miss you. So like, I don't know who's more in love with Peter, Roman or Letha.
I'm gonna share a note that I wrote about Letha during the scene. I said, can Letha ever be a normal fucking human being? Because the way she talks to Peter acts like her life is a soap opera. Like, don't get me wrong, it is because it's a TV show. But like, she doesn't know that yet. So I'm like, relax. Take it.
Okay, but also like Letha, who she's a little messed up. She thinks she's having an angel baby. She's got some shit going on, but she's not really a part of this until right now when she's a part of this because she's sitting there in the kitchen holding on to Peter, just
because he's like, well,
they're back together after their 24 hours of a fight.
Yeah. And then, like, they're holding each other, and Peter's like, so what do we do now? Or, like, one of them says, like, what do we do now? And then Peter says, I'm going to hold you until something else
happens.
Which wasn't that long.
Yeah, because then something else happened, and that something was Neck and Nose, the police officers, who are not on duty. They're just being assholes, are like, okay, you kill these girls, we kill you.
Mm-hmm.
So they
running in, guns drawn,
running
out of uniform, no sorts of.
And Peter is simultaneously really smart and really stupid for how he handles this.
Go to the front door.
No, not even that. His flight plan didn't make much sense, but he's dragging Letha with him, which also, like, you could run a lot faster and get a lot farther and not put your pregnant girlfriend in harm if you just booked it without her.
Mm-hmm.
But also, on the other hand, they're not going to shoot you if you're dragging your pregnant girlfriend with you.
Yeah.
So, mixed feelings on his motives there. But, so he's dragging Letha around with him while he's running through the house. And the cops then finally corner them, catch up with them, and are trying to arrest Peter. And Letha's trying to, like, throw herself in the way, which doesn't go very well for her. And then Shelly shows up, and Shelly's freaking out also. And then Roman shows up, and he's like, listen, this is how we're going to do things. And he mind controls them real hard.
See, my note, I said, Rufy Eyes to the rescue.
I wrote, yo, Roman just fucked them up. He plays some real mind games on them, like Damon Salvatore season 1 level mind games on these people to get them to do what he wants. And then he's like, you're going to get in your car and you're going to drive the 79 all the way to the West Virginia border. Which, I've driven the 79 all the way to the West Virginia border. At least it was pretty. It was fall, so I'm sure it was a beautiful drive.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't really know what they were going to do then. Well, no.
Drive there, then you can take the gun out of your mouth when you get there. And then you punch yourself in the face so hard you break your nose.
My favorite was that they obviously are doing this because he's telling them to. But the cool thing about it is, like, in Vampire Diaries, when you're like, when they, like, compel you, it's, like, more mental and you don't really realize what's happening. But this one, it's like they're physically walking, but they're like, why the fuck am I walking? Why am I listening to him? I don't know what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
So that was funny. But also it was real stressful because then I don't know if you caught this, but Shelly's face turned all the way blue. She was a smurf by the end of that scene.
Yeah. She was definitely emotional. Like, she was already crying when she just saw Peter handcuffed, and then the cop's like, go, get out of here, and then Roman comes in and they all get pissed.
Yeah, it was a mess.
It's just a real bold strategy for them to be doing that in the Godfrey household.
Right. But also, so Shelly's blue. Roman's nose is bleeding because he just, like, compelled everybody to do everything. Peter is like a starved wolf who just almost got handcuffed. And Letha is just like, what is going on?
Yep.
Then we go to Norman's office, and Olivia is waiting for him. And she's like, we have some things to discuss. And he's like, 6 months. Give me 6 months to get my finances in order, for Letha to have the baby, me to figure everything out, and I will leave Marie and marry you. And he's like, because this poor woman has done nothing wrong except for waste her life with me when I just fell out of love with her, and I fell out of love with her the second I first laid eyes on you. And Olivia's like, wonderful, darling, we'll discuss more later, blah, blah, blah. But then she leaves, and she does not look very happy about the situation.
And that's why I think my theory about her and Norman come into play, because I think she likes the fact of him wanting her, but not being able to have her, because I think she has this like mindset where she is untouchable and she wants the attention, she wants someone to chase, but not the commitment.
Also, I don't know if she was unhappy because of that or if she was just still fucked up. Because, like, if you noticed in that scene, she was, like, really awkward with her clothes, which she never is. And, like, she was, like, really jumpy.
Yeah.
And, like, I don't know. She also just got shot in the heart.
Yeah, it'll be like that sometimes.
Right.
Shot through the heart. And you're to blame. Don't you give love
a bad thing.
Well, copyright stricken because of that. Can't wait.
It's not like we get money on YouTube anyway.
Fair.
Then we get to some real interesting stuff. Letha calls Norman and is like, hey, Dad, surprise, Roman's awake. And we need your help. So Norman has the kids, Letha, Roman, Peter, and they're at this like abandoned church at the mental hospital that they were hiding Peter away in there to like protect him because, you know, the town wants to kill him. Mm-hmm. And then Norman is like, hey, Roman, I need you to help me get some stuff, like blankets and food and stuff for Peter. So we're going to leave him here overnight. And they walk outside. And Norman's like, hey, so, do you want to tell me what the fuck is going on? And surprisingly, Roman goes, yeah, here you go. And straight up tells the truth. And then Norman says my favorite line. He goes, you do realize you're talking to a clinical psychiatrist and not a fucking witch doctor, right? And Roman's like, yes, I know. But like, let's just pretend this is all real. This is the problem. And then Norman is just kind of sitting there, staring at them. And Roman says, so you thinking about how you want to get us committed? And then Norman says, my second favorite line, and he says, fatherhood is fucking overrated and your friend is going to need some blankets. I was really loving Norman just being like, what the fuck, man?
Like, what's been going on for the fucking past 11 episodes?
Like, he's like, are you, what?
I've been over, say serious and serious. He's like, I've been over here defending this kid saying he's not a werewolf, and you're gonna turn to me and say, yo, there's a werewolf on the loose, and it's not Peter.
And he's like, yeah, Peter didn't kill anybody. And he's like, but Peter's a werewolf, right? And Roman's like, we don't need to talk about that right now.
And that's honestly, I think that's honestly a really nice scene between the two of them, because it shows that he's the only normal thinking character.
But also, and, it also shows that, like, because remember, in the very first episode of the show, you get this sense that Roman, like, trusts Norman no more than anybody else. But so far, we haven't seen that. Because everything's been so awkward and weird, because Norman's kind of like, what the fuck is going on? So this is the first time that we get to actually see that Roman's like, no, like, we really do need your
You're
help.
My dad.
Yeah. You're my dad. Thanks, Dad. So then Roman and Norman go into the cuckoo bin to go get some food and blankets. And crazy ass Christina is standing in the hallway, just staring.
Just staring.
And Roman's like,
Hater.
hey, you with the face. You alright? Like, hey. And she says some cryptic shit about how Leaf is not safe. And then she disappears. And I don't know what my next note means.
What is it?
It just says, what kind of a person, ... Because it was something that Letha said, what kind of a person does something. And Peter answered.
Oh, I know what you're talking
about. I really liked the answer, but apparently I only wrote the question.
Yeah, it was when he says, she was like, why do people do such a thing like this? Because this.
Yes. Yeah, she said, what kind of person has it in them to do something like that about what happened to the twins?
Mm-hmm.
And he said, I think that we all have that in us. Some people just have it more. And I was like, hell yeah. Yeah.
We out here being deep.
Right. Well, no, because like it is, like, I mean, the truth of human nature is that we're all terrible. We just choose to not be.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like, when something bad happens to you, your first thought is, I'm going to kill somebody. And then you're like, no, I'm probably not going to do that. But, like, your first thought isn't always like, I'm going to give you a cupcake. No, your first thought is, I'm going to run you over with my car and set your face on fire. And then you're like, well, that might be an overreaction.
Me for the past fucking 20 years of my life.
I once actually said, someone asked me how I felt about something, and I was like, well, I'd really like to set their face on fire. And they were like, I'm a little worried about you. And I was like, but I didn't do it, did I?
Exactly. There's a difference between saying it and doing it. Like I want to, slash someone's tires. I want someone to, but that's
especially today.
But that doesn't mean that I'm actually gonna do it. I'm gonna let fate, karma's a bitch. Take it, karma. Do what you got to do with it. It's out of my hands. No blood on my hands.
Okay, this is not related to the show, but this is a story about karma. So, like, I live in Thailand, and Thailand is, like, a primarily Buddhist country. So, karma is, like, a big thing here. But this one girl I teach, she, like, has a very warped sense of karma. Like, she doesn't know what it is, and she just, like, uses it as an excuse for something. So, like, she accidentally hit her brother in the face. And so then I was like, you have to apologize, like, you just hit your brother in the face. And she was like, here, and tried to hit herself in the face to show that it didn't hurt when she hit her brother in the face. And I was like, that's not really how that works. And I tried to explain to her that, like, you can't hit yourself as hard as you hit someone else because your brain physically won't let you. And I did it. I was talking about, like, tickling, and I was like, if you tickle yourself, you can't feel it. Like, you're just like, oh, my fingers are doing something. But if somebody else tickles you, you can feel it. She goes, oh, like karma. And I was like, no, not like karma at all.
Is someone else tickling you?
Yeah. So then she's like, so can you tickle me for karma for hitting my brother? And I was like, no. That's
no, child. I will not tickle you.
How it works.
No.
Cool.
No. Karma, it could be either so, like, for me, I better have good karma, which, I've been on a pretty good streak, besides today, of good karma. So, and that's because of past mistakes on someone else. So guess what?
I
Bad
don't
karma.
really believe in karma.
I do.
I
It's happened before. So
mean, yes, but
just wait.
some people put really, really, really good stuff out into the world all the time, and then still have shit things happen to them. So like, you can't like the whole concept of karma kind of like doesn't take into account like other humans. Like if you are like a really good person and then your husband dies because of a drunk driver, like how is that your husband's fault? Like, and that's why I don't really get karma.
There's certain circumstances where I think karma could be applied. There are certain circumstances where I think
I still think you should put good into the world.
Oh yeah.
And in order to get good back, like you don't deserve good coming back if you're not putting good out. But I just don't think that concept of all things being karmic and the cycle and having no exterior anything except for your own karma, like that's a little hard to swallow. And that's a very Asian view of karma.
Yeah. See,
Yeah.
I have the more view I have on karma, I don't think everything. I think there's certain things in life that would revive around karma. Not, I don't think death relies around it. Honestly, I don't, because there are things like.
But that's not the actual principle of karma. Like the actual principle of karma is like whatever you do, you get back, and like.
Which I don't think is the truth. I don't think it happened
and that's why I don't like. Do I believe like I said? Do I believe you should put good out? Yes, but do I believe in the principle of karma the way it is taught as part of Buddhism? No.
See, with my beliefs, I believe in the rule of 3. So whatever you put out into the world comes back 3 times stronger. So, and that could be looked at as a karmatic sense, but not necessarily. So like for those who don't know, I am Wiccan. I have Wiccan beliefs. There is a difference between being a light witch and a dark witch. Both are okay. You gotta do what you gotta do. Me being a light witch, I come from light and love, so I try to put light and love out because normally that will make you more susceptible to it coming back in your life. Granted, as Mary Kate knows from experience, that is not always true. I always put my damnedest, bestest self out there for people who will genuinely throw it away half the time.
Whereas I am Christian, and as I probably, despite not really talking about it, made fairly clear through the podcast that I am, because I have complained a lot about the way they talk about Jesus on the show. So I believe that God does want you to be happy. He just also does want you to be strong. So like sometimes things are going to happen to test you, and that's okay. Bad things happen. It doesn't mean you're a bad person.
Yeah. That's a thing. Is that bad things happen to good people. That is true. Yeah. But I still, no matter what, I will try to have a giving heart regardless.
Well, no, and you absolutely should. Like no matter, I don't think there's any religion that is like, if something bad happens to you, your response should be to say, fuck everybody else. Like, no. Of course, you have no control over the bad things that happen in your life unless you're the one doing bad things to yourself. And then you need a different kind of help. But, and I don't mean that like, that came off really callously, but like, if you are causing your own pain, and a lot of people are causing their own pain and think that they're not, and that's where the issue is.
Yeah. And I think, especially during quarantine, I think for a pretty decent amount of time, I've been being tested by whether I believe in the universe or God or whatever it is that I believe in. I think I've been put through tests. I think today was a test as well. I have failed.
I'm just kidding.
You
failed my test. I told you, don't think about it.
It's kind of hard not to.
No, it's real easy. Just drink some Red Fanta and stop caring. That's what I do.
Just drink some Red Fanta and stop caring. I like that. But no, honestly, because things like today remind me that I'm like, because I look at it and I just like remember how awful everything was. And I'm like, you're pathetic. And that's what I look at. It's more of a mockery, not so much of a.
But here is why you're not healed yet. Because when you're healed in your heart, you won't think he's pathetic. You'll just think, okay, moving on.
That's kind of hard not to think that he's pathetic.
But that's what I'm saying is you're not there yet. You're not there yet.
You can't call me out saying that I'm not healed on the podcast. What if he hears it?
That's the thing. What if he hears it? Who cares? You're in the healing process. But one day, who cares?
You're right. Sorry for our little therapy session.
Yeah,
in the middle. We're licensed.
Last week I cried on the podcast. This week, like, it happens.
It is what it is.
Speaking of crying, the next scene is Norman just crying in the car for no reason. Or at least he says it's no reason. He says he's fine. I think he is having a mental breakdown because he realizes this world is not what I thought it was.
Yeah, for sure.
Then we get a really cute scene. Roman is at home and he is cooking dinner / like cleaning up the kitchen or whatever, and Shelly says that the cook and the maid both left because they were afraid of Peter, and Roman says, like, don't worry, I'm never going to leave you. And she said, do you promise? And he said, super pinky promise. And it was real cute. And then she said, did you dream about me? And he said, yeah, like the whole time I was asleep, I was dreaming about you. And she was like, what did I look like? And he said, the same as you look right now, more beautiful than the world deserves. And she said, I wish I could see what I look like there. And I just...
My heart, their relationship is so freaking sweet. I talk about it every time there's a cute Shelly and Roman moment, and it just makes my heart so happy because he might be a weird, cynical asshole sometimes. Not so much anymore, but especially in the beginning.
Because now he's in love.
Yeah, now he's in love with Peter. So, but he's always been so sweet. He's always stood up for Shelly.
Yeah.
And it's adorable.
Yeah. Then there's a new dead body. But it's not a full moon.
Not a full moon, and also the body has no head. So we don't know who it is.
Right. Roman goes to Peter and is like, dude, this is what happened. And Peter's like, shit, I gotta go talk to Destiny. And Roman's like, you can't go out there, they'll kill you. Just call her. And he's like, I'm not a pizza delivery. Like, this is important. So he sends Roman to go talk to Destiny, which we find out Linda, when she ran away, she just went to stay with Destiny. So then we get a really interesting scene with the three of them where Roman's like, I have to help him. And like Destiny's like, you won't help him until you admit that this isn't your fight. She's like, you still have no idea what you are. And he's like, and no, I think Destiny knows.
She does, but we don't.
Oh, but we don't. Yeah. And she's like, you still have no idea what you are. Like, this isn't your fight. You can't help him. And he goes, okay, fine. What does Peter have to do? Like, and that's the first time that he's like, no, you're right. It isn't my fight, but like, that doesn't mean I don't want to support him.
Yeah.
So they say that he can change when it's not a full moon. But there's a price. And they said, what is the price? And Destiny said, I don't know. That's the one thing I don't know. That's something only Peter will know. And I got real nervous that something's going to happen to Letha as the price. I got real nervous about that. But so basically, Destiny's like, I wish he would have just run away. And Linda's like, listen, we talked about this before. Running away isn't always the answer.
Yeah.
And so they get a bunch of stuff, like Destiny packs a bag with a bunch of stuff and gives it to Roman to take to Peter. And it's like, just tell Peter that I love him. And then she tells Roman that his Sarasrata glows sometimes. Now that is the Sanskrit word for your crown chakra. Which having a glowing crown chakra means that you have reached a balance with like your consciousness and your higher purpose. So like, and it's like a freedom from your own conscience. So like basically she was like, it was basically her way of saying, you haven't figured it out yet, but you can be good.
Yeah.
So so he takes the stuff to Peter, and Peter's setting up a little spell, circle, star thing. I think it was a pentacle. He was drawing runes and putting candles in places and doing a little spell, but they didn't show us enough of like an overhead for me to like see what it was. We learned that the candles are made of beeswax, and one of the points had money on it, and he said like everything has to be right because otherwise it won't work. Like you can bake a cake without sugar, but it's not going to be a very good cake. So he puts everything together and he says a little chant, and nothing happens, and he's like, ooh, all right. And then he looks at Casper and he said, I'm so sorry you trusted me. And I was like, no. But I also wrote, the cat's not going to be enough. Like that can't be the price. That's not going to be enough. I knew it. Like as soon as it started to happen, I was like, a cat's life is not a big enough price. Right. So he kills the cat and he cuts it open and takes the heart and puts it in his little spell circle. And then he kind of like loses his mind a little bit and has a weird flashback to a conversation with Nikolai where the gist of the conversation is that
they have to run.
You have to always run away. It was really interesting though because it was talking about the story in the thing was about an incident between German Nazi soldiers and a group of gypsies, which would have really happened in real life. But the problem was that in this particular story, the German officer was an Upir. And so like there was some distrust there, some issues. And Nikolai was like, you can't do this, you have to run. And Peter was like, fuck you, I'm not running. I'm gonna face this. I need bacon grease. Yeah. That was a weird turn for me, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, he just went from this, and then he was talking about, then after that, Roman says, so what's the price? Yeah. And it in his human face.
Which, I don't really know where we're going with that. I'm real concerned.
He's gonna be American Werewolf in London you mean tell me he's gonna be Michael Jackson Thriller while he's like mid-werewolf transformation?
Like the Big Wolf on Campus. Do you remember that show?
No.
It was an ABC Family show, like back probably, I don't remember, like, probably like 20 years ago at this point. But I remember I got a CD in a Count Chocula box of cereal that was the 13 Days of Halloween. And one of the songs was the Digimon Spooky remix.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great. They're like, it's spooky in here. It's great. But then randomly, one of the songs was just the theme song to Big Wolf on Campus, which was like just this dude. He was like, I used to own this town. Now my life's turned upside down. And it was about him being a werewolf. And yeah, but so like he would just like wear a Letterman jacket like a regular dude, but like had a wolf face. So it was weird.
I mean,
Man, I really want to find that CD.
look it up on YouTube.
Tracks. It had 13 tracks, and track number 13 was an hour and a half of just scary sounds. Like,
Big.
Yeah, it was great. We used to play it on trips down to Charlotte. We would drive listening to it.
Drive listening to scary sounds.
Yeah, but mostly to the Digimon Spooky song. I wish I could explain to you how much I love that song. Anyway, I don't know what's going to happen to Peter's face. So Roman, like a good boyfriend, goes home to bake 4 million pounds of bacon to give bacon grease to Peter. And his mom is like, stop doing that. I think you've had it. She said that will be enough cholesterol to take you to your dotage, which is not a word that people use.
No.
In this lifetime.
What does dotage mean?
Like, till you're so old and like invalid that somebody else has to take care of you.
Oh. She could have just said, you could have taken this to your grave, but you know.
Yeah, that's exactly what she could have said, but she's from 14th century, who knows where.
Yeah, she's a Godfrey.
So, but no, the Godfrey part isn't the part that matters. Who knows what her name was before Godfrey? You always keep blaming it on being a Godfrey, but like JR and Norman are just normal dudes. Olivia is a mess. Yeah. So, the Godfrey is the money part. The crazy comes from.
That's on being an Olivia.
Yeah. Speaking of the crazy, she's like, before you go out to save the world, can you like just spare a moment for me? And he's like,
I'd be like, no, you didn't check to see if I was alive after my coma, bitch.
Well, he kind of does, but then she's just like, please, just talk to me. And he's like, whatever. So she takes him, I know, I was watching him. She takes him up to this weird mirror with a wolf on it. And then they open a chest, and there is the axe from the coma scene inside the chest. And he has a flashback to the coma scene. And then he's kind of just like, sometimes when I tell people what to do, they just do it. And his mom basically is like, yeah, I can do the same thing. We are special, you and I. Go for it. And then he takes the axe and like shoves it into the heart of this mirror wolf. And it's kind of messed up.
See, the thing that confuses me is that Olivia tells Roman that this is going to be his kill, so is he supposed to kill Peter?
Yeah, I don't know. But also like they're going after a different wolf. I don't know.
Like,
I don't know.
It's cryptic once again. In a way that I think
well, it's not only is it cryptic, she literally says to him, we don't need words. No, you do need words because I don't know what you're talking about.
Same.
Like Roman might know what you're talking about, but I don't, so words would be appreciated. Thank you.
The thing that confuses me, I don't know why Roman would know what she's talking about, because Roman barely knows anything about himself half the time anyway. except the fact that he has these weird feelings. That's all he knows. She didn't tell him a goddamn thing of like how, like who they are, what they do, and then hands him
He
the
just said
facts
we are the same.
magically just falls in place. So I'm like, yeah, what the fuck's that supposed to mean? I don't know what you are, bitch.
Yeah. Then we do have one final scene after that. And that is just a quick flash of the fact that Chesser is tied up, bound and gagged, in a sack, in a cage. Like they were. Yeah. Yeah.
Mind you, with some blood leading up to the table. So.
Don't think it's hers.
Which is still alarming.
But remember how much blood we saw at the mill?
That's true, that's true, that's true.
Yeah, so, yeah. Yeah.
So.
We have 2 episodes left in the season. So I think they did a really, really good job of setting us up to like end things. Like we're in a good place of wanting to be like, wait, but what comes next?
Yeah.
So I'm impressed with this episode.
I think I obviously they had like the mid-season lull, but with it being a Netflix show, did there really need to be a mid-season lull? Could we gotten to know a little, could we like hinted at things about Roman a little bit more? Yeah, there's obviously some things that needed to, I think, be addressed clearer, but I don't think that takes away from the fact that they are doing a good job at least now.
The rest of the season is written by the author again, but it's also directed by Darren, our least favorite director. So I'm like, I'm excited that they're going to end it true to what Brian McGreevy would want because he wrote it, but also like, hopefully it's done well. So now that we've talked for like 8 million years about stuff that isn't even the podcast, really, who would you like to punch?
My dog in the face. Both of them. Stop. So I would never hit my actual dog. Love them. Who do I want to punch in the face?
Yeah.
Christina. Duh. She's in the episode. I hate her. I don't care if she's traumatized. I hate her. She's sus. Oh, we didn't talk about this. She disappeared. She escaped.
Right. I said that she disappeared when she disappeared from the hallway, but there was a scene later where Tom comes to check on her at the ward and she is gone and he's freaking out. The window's open and she's just like gone and the nurses are like, oh no. Which honestly, I was a little mad because those nurses like did not have it together.
No.
So, but yeah.
Christina, because she's sus. She's sus right now. I think I'm right. I think I'm right about her.
I'm the one who said she killed those girls.
We're right. We're right about her.
I would like to punch Olivia. Because Roman was just...
about her son?
Yeah, well, Roman was just like, you know, making bacon for his boyfriend, getting things together, trying to be a good person. And she's like, here, instead of being a good person, here's a weird magical axe from 8 million years ago. Kill somebody.
Kill somebody.
Don't like it.
Just girly things. Kill somebody.
Hashtag my aesthetic.
Hell yeah.
No, no. My saving grace this episode was a tie between Roman for being a good big brother and a good boyfriend. Mm-hmm. I will never stop calling him Peter's boyfriend. And Norman for saying all the things I think.
Yes, that is. Those are my two as well. I was obviously going to pick Roman because, like, I love his little moments that we get to see throughout the show and he's not being an ass. But also Norman as well because he is the only one who is taking this news like people who should have taken the news in this town. Where he was like, this makes no sense to me, but I guess I believe you because you're family and I have to and I don't want to put you in an insane asylum.
Well, but also, like, at one point in the conversation with him and Roman, he's like, what does Letha think's going on? Like, does she know what you're doing? And Roman's like, technically she knows, she just doesn't believe us.
Yeah.
And he's like, great, grand, wonderful.
So she doesn't believe in wolves, but she believes that an angel impregnated her.
And she believes Peter's story about fairies. So fairies and angels, definitely real. Werewolves, no way.
Not on her watch. Oh, hell no.
Yeah. Also, I think the reason, I figured it out. I think the reason I get so annoyed when Letha tries to be a cute girlfriend is because I know deep down Peter and Roman belong together.
They go together like women.
Why are we singing so much tonight?
I think it's the lack of sleep. It's the lack of sleep for me.
Yeah, I don't really want to talk about my sleep last night. Because you know how sometimes you don't really sleep? You just
close your eyes?
No, you just pass out and then it's been 12 hours. You're like, oh, I guess I slept last night. Oh my God. Speaking of sleeping, I usually fall asleep watching season 1 or 2 of Grey's Anatomy. And the other night, I woke up at 4:30 in the morning to the scene where Christina was screaming, somebody sedate me. And that was a big ass mood for the week.
I've been going to sleep watching BuzzFeed Unsolved with Ryan and Shane.
I actually hate you.
I hate me too. Welcome to the club. There's a whole fan club now. You know, like in Friends where they have the I Hate Rachel club? It's the I Hate Myself club. Starring me, Monica Lodick. Welcome. We have Kool-Aid and cookies.
That's a terrible combination.
It just reminds me of a pre-K.
Who drinks Kool-Aid with their cookies? You drink fruit punch, like good sherbet fruit punch, or milk?
That's the Kool-Aid I was talking about, like the fruit punch one.
That's not, no, I mean like the punch bowl that you got like at church after when with all the really good sherbet in it.
See, I think of like kindergarten Halloween parties where they give you like cookies and like popcorn balls and then like a Kool-Aid jammer. Like,
wow. One time I posted on Facebook that I wanted somebody to come eat milk and cookies with me, and your brother accused me of making up weird names for alcohol, and I was like, no, literally, I have a jug of milk and a box of cookies. I just want to watch a movie.
me. But with that episode of Death and Aliens,
I'm so sorry that you just listened to a 2-hour therapy session between us instead of anything relevant to this show. Thank you for your support, your patience, and for being a psycho who gives a shit about this. I have had a piece of hair stuck in my eye for the last 5 minutes, so for everyone watching this, please screenshot as many of my faces I just made as possible and post them all over the internet so that I know people hate me as much as I hate myself. Send us any feedback at deathandaliens@gmail.com. We're on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Spotify, Castbox, iTunes, Google Music, or Google Podcasts. Literally anywhere you could possibly type in Death and Aliens and have something actually show up, we're there. Although I do feel bad, a lot of people have apparently been searching for podcasts about aliens and finding us, and like, sorry.
Hope you guys aren't disappointed.
He didn't watch this far. But you can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, just those, at MK Superstar, spelled EMKAY_superstar.
And then you can follow me on Instagram at monica.lin_ and Twitter at MONIE_Lin because someone stole my identity.
But after the therapy session you just listened to, you'll understand why no one would want that.
Son of a puff nugget.
We'll see you guys next week.